Okay, let's run.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks! What are you?
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to And I Quote, the weekly show where we introduce you to content creators of all shapes and sizes that join us from any and all corners of the nerd universe. We find out more about them by taking your questions. I am your host, Ryan of Nerd Culture, and our guest on this episode, hey, sometimes in life you should get a sequel. Well, he's back. Please welcome our esteemed colleague, gentleman and a scholar, a writer and documentary filmmaker, and the president, maybe the vice president, I'm not sure, but president of the Jack Kirby fan club. Please welcome Glenn B Fleming to the stage. Hello, Glenn B Fleming. How are you, good sir?
Oh, Brian, that was great. That's the best introduction I've ever had. Usually I get a lot worse than that. That was great. Nice to be back. Nice to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too, and we thank you for being with us. And if you're just joining us, if you have any questions for Glenn B Fleming as we go throughout the course of the show, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. We're more than happy to take those as they come in. Our producer is going to be monitoring it as we go throughout the course of the show. But in the meantime, it's been a while, Glenn B Fleming. It's been a while, so I got to ask you, how are things going with you and the team over there at Comics Unlimited? Tell us about it.
It's doing really well. We're up to issue 13, which is currently on sale now. You get that through Amazon. I drew the cover. It's not, the entire issue isn't about John Romita, but a lot of it is because he was big, wasn't he? He was a fantastic artist, and we wanted to remember him in the right way. So we were going to have the entire issue about him, but we pulled back from that for different reasons. But yeah, it's out there now. It's on Amazon. This is number 13, like I said, and it's on. I think this one's about 84 pages. I'm not sure, but it's usually 100 pages. And there's just tons of stuff in there. It's all great articles and interviews and artwork and stuff. We've got a lot to go on. We've got 150 years of United States work. We've got 150 years of British work. We've got a European. Just go on Amazon and check it out. There'll be some stuff in there for anybody.
Fantastic stuff. Now, are you and your, speaking of esteemed colleagues, are you and Ted Davies still doing the Comics Unlimited podcast, or has that been put on the back burner?
Well, he's been really, really busy because he's got a lot of irons in the fire, and we are coming back to it. It will be coming back. We've not done it for a couple of months now because he's been busy doing his stuff. He needed to put all of his time into it. But we will be coming back. We might even bring back the Truthmongers. I don't really ever saw that one. That was about different, aliens and space programs and all this kind of thing. We're talking about bringing that one back as well, but we're not sure. But Comics Unlimited podcast will be back shortly.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And by the way, someone's chiming in their chat. I want to say Adrian Willis II. Hello, Adrian. Good to see you,
Hi,
kind
Adrian.
sir. Hope everything's well in your neck of the woods. And if you have any questions for Glenn B Fleming, please, by all means, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. And don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. We greatly appreciate that. So we've talked about Comics Unlimited. Now you got something that's really, you got to strike when the iron's hot. So Hatch Annotated, tell us about it.
Hatch is a character I created a long, long time ago in 1987. So he's nearly 40 years old. And it used to be a strip cartoon. Then it was, I issued this book out a couple of years ago. This is Hatch the Next Day. That's the first book. The second book is going to be out in a few weeks from New Haven Press. This is 40 odd pages of hand-painted artwork featuring Hatch. But the Hatch Annotated book, which is on Fund My Comic right now, is a book, a companion book to the series, and it's got unpublished art in it. It's got how I came up with it and created it and all the early stuff. It's even got Jack Kirby holding pages of it that I took to show him, and it's 100 pages of, like it says on there. There's an interview with me. anecdotes and all the kinds of stuff. It's a companion book, companion work for the series, and it's on Fund My Comic right now. And on the campaign, there's artwork for sale, figurines for sale, hardback and softback books, and there's also a book of there's a book of these roughs. I get in trouble, you see, off my wife when she's making dinner. I usually get all the envelopes for the gas bill and all this kind of stuff and draw a hatch on it while I'm doodling. And I doodled on a letter she had to return. So I got in trouble for that. And somebody's got a piece of that hatch original artwork now in their filing cabinet at work. But this, so she bought me these little books, you see, and I just draw in them. I just do sketches in them, of just anything really. Well, it's all to do with Hatch, and I'm offering this actual physical artwork here, 100 pages, on the campaign, and I'm also offering a printed version and a PDF of that as well. So there's lots of stuff on there. So if you go to Fund My Comic and just take a look, and hopefully join in.
Wow, my goodness. That's amazing. Well, congratulations on that. Wish you all the best with that campaign. Hope it gets fully funded. Get the books out there. Get the copies out there to the masses.
It's about halfway now. It's been up a couple of days. It's about halfway.
Well, congratulations. That's amazing.
So I'm hoping there'll be a lot more people coming on board when they maybe get paid. I don't know what the situation is.
Okay. All right. So, well, that's wonderful. That's great, and we wish you the best of luck with that. And links to where you can follow Glenn B Fleming, and I'll share this with you again a little bit later on too. Located in the description of this episode below, as well as on the audio version, which will be dropping soon. So make sure you check those links out. Follow this man. He's got a lot of great things going on, so we appreciate, and he would appreciate your support in that. I'm just curious though, because I brought this up earlier. I crowned you the president of the Jack Kirby fan club, and I'm just curious. I know, right? Not that there needs to be anyone in the running for that, but I'm just curious. How are things going with the Jack Kirby: A Personal Journey book? How have the numbers been? Have a lot of people been tuning in and buying copies of the DVD and the book as well?
I don't have the numbers, but I'm told it's doing quite well. It's in Waterstones. It's on Amazon. You can get it from New Haven Publishing. But yeah, it's doing very well. I don't have any figures yet, but this is what, 160 odd pages. It's full of me photographs with Jack, talking about when I went to see him the couple of times. Even got some of my artwork, and I showed him. And yeah, it's a unique thing. You see, and the film, which you can order through me, I've never seen. I'm not saying that these don't exist, but I've never seen any films of him at home in his studio. And there's about 45 minutes. You've seen it. About 45 minutes of me talking with him in his house. It's a unique thing. So if you want to go to New Haven Publishing or Amazon and get that, please do. And if you want the film, get in touch with me and I'll get a copy to you.
My goodness, that's great. Fantastic. Yes, and Glenn is right. I have sat down and watched the documentary. I've also read the book. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic. Getting inside the mind of this creator of so many different characters and so many wonderful, incredible stories that he has put together. It's truly mesmerizing. So if you get a chance, definitely check out the book, documentary, all that wonderful stuff. It really is, really is good stuff. Any other irons in the fire that you can discuss other than Hatch Annotated that you can share with us, or are you kind of bound by secrecy? Well,
only my own secrecy. I'm actually working on a World War II, Second World War story at the moment, which I'm writing and illustrating. I won't go into details on that because it truly is. I know stories about World War II are not unique, but this one is. I can guarantee this one is, and I'm not. That's all I'm going to say. It's not just a story. I'm saying no more. But that's what I'm working on. I don't know when that will be out. I'm hoping that might be out in the new year sometime. I'm doing full color illustrations on it. I'm writing it. That's good. I'm really looking forward to getting down and working on the artwork on that. It's going to be. If I can pull it off, it's going to be the best thing I ever did. I think. Wow. And I've got 10 books, 11 books up on Amazon to do with different subjects. This when this comes out,
Mhm.
and the annotated book is funded and all that. That will be 4 books I publish this year. The Jack Kirby one, and then there's another one about soccer. So I like a different piece of work on my drawing board every day, so to speak, and I zip about. And like I said, I've got 11 books on Amazon, different subjects. So if you put my name in there, you'll see them all.
My goodness, talk about Baskin Robbins and having 31 flavors for everybody.
Yeah.
And once again, we're here with writer and documentary filmmaker Glenn B. Fleming on this episode of And I Quote. Don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. If you have any questions for Glenn B. Fleming, please let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Whether you are joining this live or on the replay, we thank you for being with us. We do greatly appreciate it. With that being said, I want to let you know that this episode of And I Quote, and every episode, I should say, of And I Quote, is indeed powered by our good friends over there at Poddex. Now, Poddex are the hottest, and I mean red hot. Yeah. New tool for podcasters looking to have more meaningful conversations or gamify their podcast. You simply shuffle up the cards, you ask a question, and you let the content roll. Get yours today at poddex.com and use that promo code Ryan10, RYAN10, Ryan10 for 10% off your order. Don't miss out on that opportunity. So, with that, Glenn, if you were designing your own fragrance to represent you, what would you call it?
Fragrance.
I know we're going way outside the norm.
I don't really know. I've got no idea. You caught me on that one. I don't know. That's a strange question.
It is, but that's what Poddex does. They come up
I'd probably call it Hatch.
There you go. Call it Hatch.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. Would you accept what is known as a fatal mission in exchange for a lifetime of support for your very own family?
Yeah, of course I would. Yeah.
There you go. Enough said. If you were given $1,000 specifically to spend on your closest friend, what would you get them?
My closest friend is my wife. I would buy her a new kiln so she could carry on with her ceramic art.
Oh, okay. All right. I respect that.
I'm not sure whether a ground would cover the one she's looking at, but it would go towards it.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. It's completely fair. If you could make one of your hobbies into what is known as a profession, which one would it be?
I'm lucky enough that most of my hobbies are my profession because I've always written and drawn and designed stuff. So I've done pretty well. I've been fortunate. But another hobby, I like to read about manned space flight. So that would be pretty neat. To go into space, that would be pretty neat.
Walk on the moon, maybe.
I would go like a shot. It's funny because you know those guys who died unfortunately going down to see the Titanic.
Yes.
I wouldn't do that. Not because of that. I would not go down there. Was it Cameron went down to the Mariana Strait, the deepest part, 7 miles. There was a chart and it showed you where the Titanic was and where he was. And he goes, the Titanic is, I think it's 2 miles down, the Titanic. And he went 7.5 miles down. And when he was on his way down, one of the windows cracked.
Oh, it did?
On the way down.
Wow.
And I think it took him 26 hours to get down there because you can't just go down. You got to go down in stages. Oh. So he was halfway down and the window fractured. And he still had to go to the bottom because the way they initiate the mission, he just couldn't come back. He had to go down and then come back. So he had 2 days of this cracked window. I wouldn't do that, but I'd go to the moon. I'd go to the moon, or at least into orbit. I would love to do that.
Of course, yeah.
If I had the money, I'd go on that SpaceX thing what Shatner went on, for 15 minutes. Just do a suborbital flight. I'd love to do that. But I'm fortunate enough. I've spoken to 3 of the 12 men who walked on the moon, and interviewed them years ago. So, and I think I told you, I also landed the space shuttle in the space simulator and was the first civilian to do so. How about that? They told me. When I landed it, when you come out of the little unit thing, you got your helmet on and all that. When I came out, there was a girl there from NASA, and she said, nobody's ever done that before. Would you like to be interviewed? And I said, yeah, okay. And she asked me how long I'd been a pilot, and I'm not a pilot because of what I did. The way I got it down was quite incredible.
Wow.
So I've landed the space shuttle, but I've never been in space.
Oh, right, during the simulator, which in this case was the simulator. Yes.
Yes, of course, yeah.
That's what that was. That is.
But I was the first civilian to do it. That's not bad, is it?
No, that is. I was going to say,
500 people might have done it since I did it, but I was the first one. Like Neil Armstrong, he won't always be the last man on the moon, but he'll always be the first.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. My gosh, first person to successfully land the space shuttle during a simulator. Wow.
Yes! That's awesome!
That's great. Yeah, you hold a record there. So there you go, man. That's fantastic.
It can never be broken.
No.
Somebody might land it 1,000 times, but not the first time.
No.
So there you go.
You gotta get an esteemed honor there. So there you go. 2 thumbs way up. And yes, I've seen my fair share of documentaries of the journey it took to get from the Earth to the moon and the sacrifices that were made and all that stuff. It's fascinating. And then when you actually see some footage or you see the documentary about how they landed on the moon and how important it was and how historic it was, truly amazing. So my hat's off to all the people who worked tireless hours to make those dreams become what is known as a reality. So my hat's off to all the brave men and women of NASA. Yeah,
and I was also lucky enough to, like a lot of people, but lucky enough to see it happen live in my life.
Yeah, that's true. So, there you
and
go.
I also because I was so interested in it and all that was going on, didn't have to, but I did a talk at school about it. All that kind of thing, because there was all this surge of interest about this moon mission, and they all said, "Oh, you know about this? You can stand up in front of the class and point to the moon and where they landed and all that kind of stuff." I had a huge moon map as big as a wall, and they pinned it on the wall, and I had a piece of dowling wood, and I was pointing at where they were going to land, where Apollo 11, and they were on their way. Apollo 11 will land here, then in November Apollo 12 is going to land there, then this and that and that. So that was interesting. That was nerve-wracking. I was only 14.
Wow. Hey, great job. Great stuff. Nothing wrong
and
with that.
And that was the year after I was in the school play as Clyde Barra. Bonnie and Clyde. We did Bonnie and Clyde. I was
Clyde. You did that back in school? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was a funny time.
I was going to say that's one for the books, but my goodness, my goodness. I mean, I know this is 2 completely separate things, but still going around to how the brave men and women of NASA accomplished the missions of getting people to the moon. I remember reading this, and people have done this too, right? When you're a kid, you're 6, 7 years old. Some people ask you that question. Well, what do you want to be when you grow up? One of the first things I said was, I want to be an astronaut.
Everybody said that.
I want to do space travel. And then I read this book. I think it was specifically titled, and I'm going to have to go back and do some research on this. And I apologize if I'm saying this title wrong. I Want to Be an Astronaut, or How to Be an Astronaut, or maybe it was just simply called Astronaut. I'm not really sure, but it was written by children's author Gail Gibbons, who was a very big name for us, us kids in the 90s. So I'm going to have to do some digging and find the cover of that book, see if I can find it. I know it's somewhere I'm sure Google Images would have a picture of it somewhere.
Yeah,
I'll look it up for you, but it was a really well illustrated book for, children who were in elementary school at the time. So,
well, the earliest artwork I have in my archive that I did,
sure,
is several drawings of the lunar module that I drew when I was 13. No, I'm not saying they're any good, but that's the earliest artwork I've got, because I've always drawn comics and things like that.
Oh, wow.
So I've got that as part of my archive.
The lunar module, okay.
Yes, and the other stuff as well, the Saturn V and all that kind of thing. But it's I just like drawing, I like writing and drawing. Wrote my first book when I was 8. But it was only 20 pages in a book. But 20 pages when you're 8, it's not bad, is it?
No, I would venture to think that it's not.
And that was about Stingray, you know, Jerry Anderson's Stingray, Thunderbirds, puppets.
Oh, yeah.
It was to do with that. I don't have it now. I wish I did.
Oh, you don't? Okay, you don't have it. All right.
No, I've had it for a long time. But that'd be something, wouldn't it, to have that? A 20-page story written by an 8-year-old about marionettes and undersea submarines.
Yes, undersea submarines. There you go. Kind of I think kind of like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, as well as other stories that have taken place in underwater environments.
Yep.
There's been a lot of stories that have been written about underwater environments. But what was the best present that you ever received?
Best present
you ever received? It could be anything.
Tickets to go on an aeroplane up in the sky to see Halley's Comet.
Oh.
In 1986.
And
I caused a bit of an upset before we went up because the woman who was going up with us was the Astronomer Royal. I can't remember her name, but she was the Astronomer Royal, which is like the top person to do with astronomy. And she was showing slides. And there's a famous photograph, you'll have seen it, taken by Apollo 17 command module pilot Ron Evans of the entire Earth. You've seen that very famous picture. Well, she had it the wrong way around in the slide. And this is the Astronomer Royal. And people were asking her questions about this. She said, this is Africa, and this is the Horn of Africa, and all this. And she came to me for my question. And I said, you've got that slide the wrong way around. And she was not happy. But you've got to get it right, haven't you?
Yeah, got to be correct when you're presenting certain pieces of information. That's for sure.
When you're the Astronomer Royal, you've got to know a picture of the Earth is the wrong way around. And I'm not being a smart ass, but I think it needed pointing out because people would be confused.
Yeah, there you go. Very true.
So she wasn't happy with me after that. She wouldn't talk to me after that, which shows you something else, doesn't it? She should have said, "Yeah, you're right. Ha ha ha. Thanks for pointing it out," and turned it around. Not falling out with me.
I see. Gotcha. By the way, and Philip Miller says, "Oops, that was embarrassing for that individual during that presentation."
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Philip Miller. By the way, good to see you, Philip.
Yeah, nice to see you, Philip. And the thing is about this woman is that I think I was on the 10th flight that she'd done that week.
Really?
So I'm just wondering whether that slide was, the wrong way around all this time. But anyway, yeah. But that was great. That was a good trip. You could see it there, and it was. We went up to, I think it was 50,000 feet, which is when you fly normally it's about 35,000. You could see the curvature of the Earth, and you had a chart because it just looked like a star. You couldn't tell it was a comet. There was no tail at that point. And but when you looked at the chart, you could see there was an extra blob. Well, that was it,
Oh my goodness gracious! And Philip Miller goes on to say, "Hello, guys. Oh no, that's sad. Yeah. Some people have good days at the office. Some people have bad days. That's just. That's just the way it crumbles, cookie-wise.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think one of the few books I remember reading when I was a kid was either Astronaut, I Want to Be an Astronaut, and then there was something else. I can't remember what it was. Obviously, anyone who gives me what do you call it, like an 8x10 photo maybe, or a piece of film strip or a slide, or even just one of those holographic 3D images of an image that was taken by what is known as the Hubble Space Telescope. That's always a joy to look at. Hubble, some of those images were just drop dead gorgeous.
And the James Webb.
Oh, James Webb. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was the other one.
That's the new one.
Oh, that's the new one. Right. I'm sorry. Yeah, James Webb. But some of those images, my gosh.
Well, I remember when Hubble first went up in the I think it was in the 80s. There was a photograph. They took a photograph from the Hubble.
Really? This
was in the 90s. They took a photograph of an empty space, of a degree of empty space, left the aperture open for 2 weeks, and got a picture sort of this size, 6x4, and it had 2,000 points of light in it, and it said, and it looked like a star field, and they were galaxies. So in a degree of on the sky where it was black, were 2,000 galaxies in that area, that field of vision. Do you understand what I mean? So that shows you how many galaxies. There are trillions of galaxies, and people think that we're the only people walking about, which is just outrageous.
No.
Or it's either outrageous or very sad that we're the only creatures who can look up in the sky and count the stars.
Looking at those beautiful images, whether they're from the James Webb or Hubble for that matter, it just shows us how small we really are, because there's so much out there.
Yeah.
You know, in the words of a fictional character that once said, "Let's see what's out there. Make it so."
Yeah.
Sorry, that's a Star Trek reference. I can't help it.
That's all right.
It happens. But with that being said, we could talk about all the stars and galaxies, and we'd be here until we're 900 years old like Yoda and blue or gray in the face. So with that being said, I want to say thank you to our good friend known as Glenn B. Fleming for being our guest on this episode of And I Quote. It has been a treasure. It has been wonderful hearing about the things you got going on and some of the wonderful things you have coming up very soon. And also, it's also good to dive back into history and talk about the space age, because there was a lot of stuff going on back then. Heck, there's stuff going on right now with some scientists, some experts over there at NASA.
Do you know what's really sad about the space program right now? Is that the country that got the first man in space doesn't exist, Soviet Union. And the country, United States, which got the first man on the moon, doesn't have a delivery system. All the American astronauts go up on Russian spacecraft. The USA doesn't have a delivery system for a man into space. So 60 years after Gagarin, that country doesn't exist. And 50 years after Armstrong, that team doesn't have a delivery system. I find that really sad. We should be on Mars now.
Yeah, that would be nice. I'd like to see some of the other planets that are out there, not just the same thing. Earth, moon. Come on, guys. There's a lot of things out there. It's a lot of space. Let's see if we can. Let's see what's out there. But with that being said, Glenn B. Fleming, where can the good person listening or watching this follow you on social media and all the wonderful things you have coming up?
You can get me on Facebook and Twitter, or whatever it's called this week. X is it called? Yeah. You get me on there. You can get all my work on Amazon. You can get my work at newhavenpublishing.com, and you can see my latest efforts on funmycomic.com, which is a Hatch annotated book. And in a couple of weeks, Hatch number 2 will be coming out. And if you want this one, you can get this one from me.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for being here with us, Glenn. Do greatly appreciate it. My name is Ryan of Nerd Culture. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Check out all the wonderful things we're doing here at Nerd Culture. Got a lot of great things coming your way. Do have a show later tonight on this Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be doing an episode of what is known as Convention Chronicles with my co-host and best friend known as Jeff. We're going to be talking about some of our favorite interactions that we have had with celebrities up to this point in our Comic-Con careers. We're going to be joined, I should say, gee whiz, my words, by a special guest. Brian Nussbaum is going to be with us, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Also, check out new episodes of Ahsoka's Weekly Mission on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time, where we do spoiler-heavy thoughts and discussions about the latest episode or episodes of Ahsoka, which is currently streaming on Disney+. So a lot of great things coming your way there. Also, we're this close to hitting 1,000 subscribers. Once we do, we're going to throw a great big live stream celebration with returning guests, some new and surprise guests, if you will, and some special giveaways that we're going to, give away to you, our incredible subscribers / fans. So tell your friends about us, because once we hit 1,000, we're going to throw a great big celebration. Who knows? Maybe Glenn B. Fleming will chime in and share his thoughts about how it feels to have 1,000 subscribers, and also what it feels like to travel in space or land something in a simulator. Maybe not in reality, but in a simulator. He holds the Guinness World Record, ladies and gentlemen. So maybe we'll have him on. We'll talk more about that, because I like talking about space travel and outer space and all the wonderful things that are out there in the galaxies, the planets, the universe, all that stuff. The only way we're going to do that is when we hit 1,000. So tell your friends, because they're going to tell their friends, and they tell their friends, and so on and so on. You know how these things go. In the meantime, stay healthy, stay strong, stay safe. And remember, life is better when reading? Take a look.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
Sweet dreams they placed on me inside my mind. Chance my truth twist the past, my memories are fading fast. Am I still missed? Who do you want me to be? Am I still missed?
Author Cindy Kep is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Kep at CKOEPP.com today.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasmafire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasmafire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
Good morning! Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.